Hello? Is everybody there? I'm sorry, for some reason StreamYard just crashed on me. Please let me know in the comment section if you are here. I'm not sure if you are. Don't know what happened there. But yes, welcome to the live stream. We are on, let me just get the banner out real quick. Boom. We are on episode 48 of this chilled live stream session, Thursday night chilled live stream. And we are working on the Aragon creature. Tonight we're going to carry on detailing the Aragon dragon bust, which we're creating for a book reimagining of the original book. I just want to share with you the membership video first, and then we'll jump straight into the scene. So give me 1 second. So you want to join my membership?
Gotcha. Sign up.
By joining, you won't only unlock members-only content, you'll also be supporting my channel and the growth of the community. Are you ready to do your part?
I'm doing my part.
For as little as a price of coffee a month.
God damn, Jimmy. This some serious gourmet shit.
You'll be able to access all past live streams and get exclusive members-only content.
Yeah, boy.
That's less than 49p a video.
Shut up and take my money.
So if you're ready, join now and become part of this 3D journey.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Alright, so as you saw there, you can become a member of the channel and you can unlock the tutorial live streams, which are a Monday thing, as well as the long form editions of the videos from my time-lapse videos. As well as that, if you become a Patreon tier 3, you can learn to sculpt the Velociraptor from Jurassic Park. That one is a full tutorial and exclusive for my tier 3 Patreon members, as well as the new one that they get in this year, starting this year, which is how to sculpt a rock golem inside of ZBrush. This is a short little tutorial that I created over the Christmas period, and it's basically just to refresh your minds up before we move into other tutorials, which are going to be much more in-depth about how to create characters. But I thought it'd be nice to sculpt something a little different to dinosaurs, dragons, and mutants. So I created this one. Okay, so everything looks like it's all right. Just want to say hello to all my regulars, Joseph, Celestials, and Tomorrow. Nice to see you guys. If you have a question and you want to ask me something, please feel free. That's what tonight's all about. It's just me sculpting whilst you guys watch and ask questions if you like. Right, let me just turn on some music. There we are. Hope it's not the Christmas music. And then we're just going to, before I get started, we are sculpting. I think I mentioned it just a minute ago, but we're continuing to sculpt the Aragon dragon bust tonight, where we're basically it's a small project where I want to show you how I would go about recreating the Aragon book cover, but using my own dragon and my own techniques. Speaking about books, I have something here. Did you see that? I just got the proof version of my first book for 2022 Volume 1. It is my book that I created online. It's a proof version, so it's not ready yet. I've still got to go through and check all the images are correct and the correct sort of saturation brightness to them. But it's really, really good actually. So I'll just show you a few pages whilst we're here. So on the front page, you got this one here. Where's the camera? There it is. A collection of artworks by me, and I'll sign at the bottom if I decide to sell them. And then we'll go into full color pictures of my artworks from the 2022 period. There are quite a few in here. I'm not going to show all of them, just going to show a few of them. I got these ones as well. My version of Skeletor and Spawn. And it came out really nicely actually. Some of them, well, most of them, sorry. There's some of them that are a bit dark, but that's because I haven't the color comes out differently when they printed. But you can see they come out really nicely, full page. And so the idea is, if anybody was interested in purchasing or buying one, then I'll be able to, well, I want to find out first if you guys are interested. I'll actually like this one the most, really. It's just the same one, but two versions of it, sort of two sisters looking at each other, princesses. But yeah, so that is the first volume, volume 1, which is the proof version. It's not a final version. And each one's going to have a very simplistic design, very minimalist design on the front, and then a nice huge image of a black and white version of one of my favorite pieces from that year. So this one is this one. And this one piece of art here is the one that actually got my YouTube channel going. This one racked up 600,000 views in a very short amount of time. It was the best video by far for a very long time, until Carnage came along, but this one was the first one. So it's a little special for me, and I think each one of these at the back is very special to me, and I can tell you about that once I make the other ones. But anyway, that is the book. And speaking of books, let's jump straight into the main stage, which is all messed up. 1 second. And let me just share the screen real quick. Boom. There we are. Dynamite. Right. Celestial asks, looks cool. Where are you going to sell it? I have no idea yet. I think what I want to do is I want to buy 50 of them and then find out how I can sell them online, like, because I'll have them with me and then I can package them and send them by myself rather than getting someone else to do it. But I have to think this all through first. First of all, I've got to go through this book here. I've got to go through this book, and I've got to make sure that all the colors are correct and all the images aren't sort of bleeding onto each other and all that sort of thing. But once I've done that, once I've got a perfect version of it, then I'll start to look into the selling of it. But I'll let you guys know about that in the future episodes once I get this thing going. Right, so yeah, inside ZBrush. And we're just working on, last week we were working on getting the details down, or the alphas down, and tonight we're just going to, I'm just going to go ahead and continue to detail it, really. I'm going to go to layers. Very bad of me not to name my layers, but I mean, if it's just a personal piece, then I don't think it's really necessary to name every layer. So just going to come in, and well, what I'll do is I'll start to, once I've got all the alphas down, I'll just start to detail them a bit more and clean them up a bit. Has everybody had a good week so far? It's almost the weekend again, thank goodness. Has anybody got any good any plans for the weekend? Any good plans? I think I'm going to be quite busy, actually, myself. Food and meal preps. Does anybody else do that? Does anyone else meal prep out there, or is it just me? I find it frees me up a lot from having to you know, make meals all the time, every night, and having to come up with an idea for a meal. If I just bulk make stuff, like prep it, then it takes that one thing away from having to worry about. Now what we're trying to do is go a little fast with the detailing, because I kind of want to get it into the compositing and rendering stage as soon as possible. But I mean, I could spend a bit more time detailing it, to be fair, just so it's nice. It'll look nice once we render it. There's no rush, really. I'm not even sure what I'm going to do for the next project anyway, so on Thursday. So if you guys have any good ideas about it, then about next project, then please leave it in the chat, or put it in the Discord channel. But these Thursday ones are a bit more of a chilled experience. So we're not going heavy like an actual tutorial, because that'd just be very difficult. I have a tutorial on Mondays anyway. Tomorrow says I'm actually going to do some ZBrush this weekend. Nice. What are you working on? You know, since I've finished, well, I haven't finished, but since not doing the time-lapse videos anymore for the beginning of this year, I've actually reclaimed some of my social, well, my social life or spare time. I'm trying to find new things to do and create, using different mediums as well, trying to think about other things I could do rather than just do 3D stuff. I've been looking into iPad painting in Procreate, and what else have I done? I've also looked at actual pen drawing on paper, no digital. Also stickers. I've been thinking about doing stickers designs. This one here, I don't know if you've seen this on the old microphone. That's one of them. In fact, I'll show you. I'll show you what I've designed so far. This is just like a hobby type thing. But I made all these little stickers. They're called Bros, and basically it's just a bunch of pixels made in Photoshop, and then sent off to a person who makes a company that makes stickers, a sticker app. And what they do is they make stickers for you. But if it was to be a major, like if I took it seriously, then I'd probably start to actually buy the sticker printer and paper and do it. But I just want to try proof these first and test these out first before I do that. You just imagine all these all over the place, right? Just stick it all over the place. Celestial says, I'll be sculpting as well. I have to finish the horse till the end of the month. Okay. Yeah, there was that one with fire horse. It looked kind of like the Pokemon horse. I can't remember what it was called. Frenzy, I think it's called. Tomorrow says, I got some good feedback via Instagram, and it's inspired me to finish off some old stuff. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, it's always good to have feedback on your work, especially if it motivates you to go further and finish it off. You know, I hate having unfinished pieces like my Space Marine model that I'm still working on. I've also got Gasser Skull, sort of the Orc Gasser Skull torso that I want to make a really cool poster out of. So yeah, I can understand if why people might forget about their designs after a while. Happens to the best of us. It's kind of like the thing about it for me is I start something, and then if I feel like it's kind of taking too long, then I'll just sort of move on to something else, you know. But that means now that I have not hundreds, I've got quite a few projects that I still need to finish off, and there's some projects that I really want to get started. So yeah, it's a bit of a crapshoot, really. In fact, I would like to actually get this one made. This Aragon. Whoops, I'm not even sharing my screen. 1 second. There you go. I want to get this Aragon made, and then I want to possibly do the other ones in the same style, and then hopefully, I don't know, stick it up on social medias and try to get the author's attention to them. Maybe he'll take them up and what do you call it? Do the book covers over again, you know? Because I actually quite enjoy doing book covers in this sort of style of book cover making. You guys have probably seen the Shadow of the Gods and all those other book covers that I created for John Gwynne. That's the sort of things I like to do as well. A lot of photo bashing and and ZBrush sculpting. Right. Celestial says, yeah, Firehorse is this symbol from as Asian zodiac. Ah, nice. I'm the Year of the Horse for China, the Chinese calendar, Year of the Horse. So that's pretty cool. So I have to ask, who here or who in the chat, if you wanna sort of join in, who's seen Predator Badlands in the chat? Let me know in the chat if you have, because I bought it because I thought, screw it, you know, I'll just buy it for a couple of quid. It's been out long enough now. Might as well see what the hype was, or see if what it looks like. And I was going into it with quite negative thoughts because of the idea that it's a Predator film, but you know, he talks and there's sort of you know, it's kind of like a buddy cop type thing. Well, not body cop thing, but a journey with the Predator instead of just the Predator going in and slashing and killing humans like in the original. That's whenever I see it, I always think of the original Predator and always think, you know, why can't they just make that film again? Because it was so simple. You just take a bunch of badass army men and you send them into the jungle. I know that they already did that with a Predators. Is that the one I worked on? Yeah, I think it was. They already had that, kind of, but it's not as good as the original, you know. So I was kind of wary about this one because it was slightly different looking to the original Predator. I was a bit scared that the design was going to make it too human instead of alien, but I gotta say that I was very much surprised at how good it was. I don't say that often when it comes to these remakes or reboots or whatever it is, or reimaginings, but I actually liked the Predator in Predator Badlands. I think it was cool how they took the idea of the Predator and went with it in a different angle. Like they went down the route of a sort of, I won't say mongrel, but the weakest of the pride, or the weakest of the pack version of the Predator, and showed us that storyline. And we kind of saw the Predator sort of go through all this trials and to try to prove himself, right? And I found that was really interesting, and I thought I was going to hate the android parts because I sort of what was it? Sorry, I'm kind of trying to sculpt at the same time. I saw through reviews online that there was just too much android talking in the film, and I was like, is that going to be something that's going to be annoying? But in fact, it wasn't, because you needed to have. I felt like you needed to have the android talking because the Predator was such a quiet character and straight to the point type character, like warrior type character. So you know, they're on a massive. By the way, spoiler alert. They're on a massive journey throughout this dangerous world, right? And so you have loads of landscape shots of them walking through the wilderness, and I think to break up the silence of the walk, I think it was a good idea to have this android who he sort of saved, you know, just fill in the void, basically. Celestial says, I'm not a fan of it, but I'll still go watch the next. They got another one? Oh god, I thought it was just one. Okay, well that's news to me. Yeah, I think it worked quite well. I was very impressed with the what do you call it, the facial animations on the Predator, especially around the eyes and the mouth. You know, when he breathed in and out, the sort of flesh between his mandibles sort of shaked with the wind with his breath. Those little touches of detail were just amazing. Yeah, I started to sort of, I don't get it often, but when I was watching it, I had this urge to get on ZBrush and sculpt a Predator. You know, I wanted to sculpt one as soon as I sort of got into the film. And I think that's the kind of magic that urge gets people to become more creative, when you have that really cool character on the screen and it's just doing everything right in your head, and you just want to sort of add your own inspiration onto it by creating it or recreating it. Tip Tango says, I really enjoyed it, really appreciated a movie with a hideous hero. Yeah, same. I think I got used to the design. You know, I didn't see myself fighting against it as much as I thought I was going to. I think it just sort of, after a while, just naturally was like, okay, you know, it's a Predator. To me, you know, it works as a Predator. So, yeah, really happy with that design and the whole sort of story arc as well, because it just really worked well with the characters. And the android, surprisingly enough, was very well done as well, like the acting for it. Yeah. Oh, I was going to show you this. Has anybody else seen the new He-Man trailer, by the way? In fact, let's have a look at that, shall we? This is going to be the He-Man section, because I was a big fan. Well, I was a fan. I don't say a big fan. I was a fan because I was growing up with it when I was a kid of He-Man. I even had, me and my brother even had the Castle Grayskull, and we put it in a sandpit, and then we completely forgot about it because we covered the sandpit with the cover, and then we took it off one day, and it was just completely ruined. But we had the He-Man, we had Skeletor, we had the He-Man figure as well. But you know, I was just wondering if anyone's seen the trailer, because I've got it here, and I thought maybe we could have a look at it. I'm going to just play the trailer, and then we can probably talk about it a little bit afterwards. So let me just turn the music down, grab the trailer. Whoops, that's not the trailer view. There it is. Boom. And let me know if the sound comes through, by the way.
All that stuff that only exists in legends and bedtime stories. Talking tigers, spaceships, and magic swords that can make a man as mighty as a god. Where I come from, that stuff is real. Why did you send me away?
I wanted you to be safe. So I sent you to a place I knew that they'd never find you. There's...
This obsession with nerd stuff and sword things, it's not a good look for human resources.
I know it sounds crazy, but that sword is gonna show me the way home.
Sir, you can't do that.
Don't worry, the sword's mine.
Hang on, it's about to get weird.
What am I supposed to do? Take the sword and protect them.
All right. So, what did you guys think? I'm quite surprised with it. To be fair. We just pause that. I'm quite surprised with it. I think though, even though he tried his best, I think he's still a bit too small. You know. Is it that button? No, that button. Yeah. I don't know. I think he's still a bit too small. I think he should be a little bigger. You know that old that advert with the sort of bodysuit Skeletor and He-Man and they do the old dance thing. I think that's the sort of scale that I was hoping for. But I'll tell you what, where's that scene? Let me try and find it. 1 second. That is amazing. That's an amazing shot. Look at that. So he looks bigger there compared to what we just saw, you know. But another big surprise was Skeletor, obviously, and I can't wait to see how they tackle his voice. I think that's going to be hilarious because he looks so cool, right? He looks so cool in that trailer, but then he's gonna talk and he's gonna have that like Skeletor accent, and it's just gonna be like maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. What do you guys think? But yeah, I just thought I'd show you that because I wanted to talk a little bit about the original He-Man toys. I'm not sure if you guys have seen the what do you call it? The Netflix series, The Toys That Made Us, season 1, episode 3. It's all about He-Man and how they created He-Man and came up with the idea for He-Man. And I gotta tell you, that is even better than what the film will probably be, to be honest, because the whole idea of He-Man was just a joke at first. It was made at Mattel, which was a Barbie line, a sort of a company, the company that made Barbie, sorry, and they decided to give some, I don't know if they decided to give some money, but they decided to give some free time, shall we say, to a couple of toy makers, male toy makers, and they were asked, you know, could you come up with a boy brand for Mattel? And so these few people, I think it's Mark Taylor, I've got it written down here, it says Mark Taylor, who is the designer and concept artist, and Roger Sweet, who is the pitch artist and the concept artist, sort of came up with the idea of He-Man. And if you watch the documentary on Netflix, it's really funny because they literally took toys from existing sort of toy lines that they had in the backlog of toys, and they just mixed them all together or mashed them all together to create these concept pieces to show off and pitch. And the whole story about He-Man was just made up as they went along, and I thought that was just the funniest thing, because it became a complete hit in the toy world, and now it's like iconic, right? He-Man is an iconic brand from a couple of toy makers who are just trying to have some fun. And I think those are the ones that really, you know, that really stick with me, you know, when it comes to creating things and ideas. It's when it's forced, it's kind of, you can kind of tell when things are forced, right? But the best ones are the ones that just sort of come naturally, like ideas, like concept ideas and stuff like that. Like it was basically, but it was basically set in the time of the 80s, where okay, you had the board members, but you also had a lot more freedom to just do whatever you wanted, right? And of course, once He-Man became a huge thing, then they, the ladies of Mattel, of Mattel, saw how great He-Man was doing, and they wanted a bit of the action, and they created She-Ra, which was basically just Barbie with a bit more muscle on her, and it was I think it was supposed to be the cousin of He-Man or something like that, called She-Ra. I'm not 100% sure on the actual storyline, but what I could say is that, you know, Mattel saw how well He-Man was doing, that they created She-Ra to sort of have a more feminine sort of character within the branch, right? Because they were just coming up with some crazy stuff like Man-at-Arms and the Beast, and then there was other ones on there that were less favorites, but still just completely crazy. And as I said, they were just going absolutely berserk on designing these things, which must have been fun back in those days. To just walk into the office one day and then just say, okay, I've got an idea for a character. What about one with multiple heads and it rotates and each one's a different emotion? Yeah, that sounds good. Let's make it. You know, I mean, you just wouldn't be able to get away with doing that these days. Everything's so corporatized and has to be scrutinized every second that it's a lot harder to actually become creative, I find, in the industry. There's too much red tape. That's the word. Too much red tape when it comes to creativity. Tomorrow says She-Ra was He-Man's twin sister. Oh my god. Alright, whatever. Masters of the Universe, the original Kit Basher. Yes, it was. The original, I mean, yeah, just go, if you haven't already, just go watch the Netflix show. That's all I can say. Because you will not be disappointed. It is a laugh a minute, and just hearing the types of stories that these guys got up to with the ideas that they came out with, it was just pure gold. Okay, let's have a look. Go over this drain. But yeah, so I was quite surprised by that trailer. I was expecting schlock or schlop, but I think they're going to do well in the cinemas. I think a lot of people are kind of wanting, I'm going to say wanting something different because it looks exactly like Marvel, but you know, they want something. I won't even say original because it's not even original, but they want something else, let's say. Something stupid and fun like that. It's very Guardians of the Galaxy style of humor, I guess, is going to be in that. Which I think is probably a good sort of fit for Masters of the Universe, is that sort of humor. I wonder if they're going to have the special message at the end like they had in the cartoon, you know, the sort of good-hearted message at the end, like, now kids, don't do drugs and stuff like that, you know, like they used to have in the 80s, like role model type thing. Even though he's just sort of battled and nearly killed someone. Now kids, don't play with knives. Yeah, sure. Oh, they're gonna have that guy who floats around with his hands. What's he called? The guy with the hood. I can't remember the names of these characters. It's really bad. But they're gonna have him, and he was really annoying Can you guys remember it? Orcop. Orcop. Is that how you say it? Orcop. Yeah. God. Used to get on my nerves. I'm not too worried about the sort of mouth area really in this part. I'm just trying to add some detail where we've sort of missed it. I'm not too careful about this, to be fair, because you're not going to see it really too much, hopefully. So that should be fine. I'm just using some basic brush sets as well, not working too hard with really fancy brushes. Yeah, not too cared about that. Orco, right? Yeah, that's a guy. Orco. I wonder what they have next in line for adaptations. I've been seeing on the old internet recently that the new Star Trek Starfleet Academy is not doing very well, which is kind of crazy because Star Trek normally does very well anyway, doesn't it? What are you guys' thoughts on Star Trek? Is it shit the bed, or is it still going strong for you guys? Or are you even fans? Because not a lot of people are they? Well, not anymore. But I'll tell you what, I haven't seen the full season of Star Trek Enterprise, right? But I have seen the full season of Voyager, and I think Voyager has done really well. The idea of, you know, a crew being lost at space and having to find their way home is just a perfect storyline to work from. I think what I could do is, let's try finding where the majority of these scales is. I got so many layers. Should have named them. There it is. I'm just going to duplicate this one. That'll pop out that detail a bit more. And just gonna drop it down just a smidgen. There we are, that's better. So when it comes to rendering with ZBrush, like I normally do, I tend to amplify the details a little bit more when it comes to the rendering, because we're not using ray tracing or anything like that. We're using ZBrush's rendering. And so we want to add a bit more depth to these scales. We'll have to amplify the detail, otherwise we won't get the cracks and crevices coming through, basically. So that's why I just duplicated that layer. And now I can come in and just clean up as I go along. This is the tedious part, but it'll make your model look a lot better if you do a little bit of cleanup work, basically. All right. Yeah, so I've been waiting all day to receive that book of mine, and I got a text message from DHL saying track your post, because for some reason DHL are very scatty when it comes to delivering to my door. Even though because I work from home, I'm in all day, right? So I can hear the door, I can hear the buzzer go anywhere in the flat that I live in. But for some reason, last time they tried to deliver, they said that they couldn't deliver to my flat, and they tried, but no answer. But there was no ring on the doorbell. So I was like, okay, well, they'll come back tomorrow. So I waited, and I waited. And then they did the exact same thing. They said they couldn't access the doorbell. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Because, you know, the doorbell is on the wall. You're supposed to look for it on the wall. It's in the instructions I laid down, or I put in the email. And so I had to go and fetch it from a depot. So I had to wait today, all day, just to get the book. But I could see the path the van was doing, because it said it was going to deliver it by 9:55, right? And then 9:55 came around, and it said, okay, it's going to be 11:55. So okay, I'll wait around for 11:55. And I kept watching this van, and it was just going everywhere else apart from the direction of my flat. And I was like, okay, so what's going on? And then it just said at the top, after 11:55, sorry, we're running a bit late. And I was like, okay, so he's going to probably show up in the next, I don't know, 10 minutes. 5 o'clock in the afternoon, he shows up. I was like, gee, I've been watching you drive every single place, right? And I was like, for God's sake, just you passed my house, my flat. You literally passed the flat on the way to deliver another one. You couldn't just stop and. I don't know, maybe I'm just going crazy. Too much time inside. Alright, so the face looks a bit flat as well, the scale, so I'm going to do the same thing as I did with the side pieces. And just got to find them first. Let's do this one first. Let's duplicate that. Did I duplicate that, or did I just turn it softer? There we go. And let's put that to 0.5. You can see we're now getting a lot more crevice detail, crack detail. And the next one. Let's go the next one down. Where is it? Trying to find this front part now. There it is. Okay, let's duplicate that one. And let's just put this down to 0.7 as well. So you can see we've added some more volume to those scales so they stick out a bit more. And they catch they're going to catch the light a lot better as well. Right. Is everybody still there, by the way? Not seeing much of a chat going on. There we are. Everybody still alive? Cool. I'm going to move on to the horns, because I think the horns need some TLC as well. And just going to do some basic detailing on these. Not going to go too crazy, I guess. But I've got some alphas already lined up. Let's just see what happens. I use these ones. Whoa, too much. Okay, that's good. I like to put the alpha, modify, turn the surface on. And let's start at the base here. That's too harsh. Let's turn back face masking on. Then I'm going to add a layer. I'm going to. I should have added a layer before, but I forgot to. So don't forget to add layers when you're using alphas, because you can then adjust it to however you like later on. But because I'm in a rush, I'm not going to worry about it. Okay. Is anybody still there? Anybody still in the chat? I don't see much much movement going on. I'm hoping it's not crashed again. Gotta keep that. Right, let's grab these ones, which are the side ones. I'm just gonna subdivide them a couple of times and grab a standard and add this texture to them as well. I'm not going to go too fancy with it, just keep it all generic. Trim dynamic out. I'm just going to flatten some of those faces. Make it look sharper as well. Gives it more of an organic feel as well, organic look to it as well. Let's just solo these. I just want to be able to see them properly. And let's add them to the back sides of the horns. Grab trim dynamic. Just gonna trim these back. Right. Yeah, they look pretty good. They look like horns to me. Right, and for the tooth, oops. For the tooth, I'm just going to trim dynamic that. Give some edges to it. Let's just detail around the tooth as well. Standard. Let's find alpha. Yeah, I'm just cleaning up certain areas which got lost, just masking them out and adding some alphas into them, just so it's not such a flat piece of geometry. We might need to subdivide this again in order to get rid of this pixelation that's going on the alpha around here. Just to smooth it out a bit more. Trim dynamic. Alright. So, who's been keeping up with the Fallout series 2? What do you guys think of that? Is anybody still interested in the Fallout series? To be honest with you, I don't see a lot of advertising. Not like when the first season came out. When the first season came out, there was all this hype about the Fallout universe coming to TV and stuff. But the second season, even though it's got more in it than the first, I don't see a lot of people talking about it that much. It's kind of just under the radar. It's just something that's on Amazon, you know? Yeah, bit odd, if you ask me. I thought at least someone would be raving about it. Wrong skins. Scales. I don't need the scales. Okay, let's grab this brush. Let's grab the snake hook brush and let's pull some of these scales out more. Go for a very generic looking dragon, I guess you say. Of course, there's scales underneath that. Wonder how we're gonna do that. We just pull these ones down. Nah. Let's leave that for now. And let's just focus on other areas. Okay, let's try damn standard, and yeah, that's going to work well. Just using the Alt button down, I'm just going to add a kind of ridge along those top parts. It's a cool way of adding sort of ridge, those sort of scales. Add some of that wrinkle that we lost from the texture map. Okay. Trim that down. Okay, that's not too bad. Not too bad. Let's add some detail to this back scales here. They look very flat at the moment, and we don't really want that, so let's add some maps to it. Let's see if we can find any first. Kind of just want like a roughness to it, like with some detail. It's difficult to explain. I kind of want to just add some noise to them, but I don't want to deform them too much. Let's mask it out first, so we don't sculpt anything that we don't want to sculpt. Alright, so let's think about this. Can't use those. Is that too much? What about if it's subdivided? Yeah, that's adding some nice detail. Some nice surface detail. That's all I'm looking for. A little bit of surface detail. Just to break up the surface a little bit. Yeah, I wonder if there's anything in here we can use as well. Too much? Too much. Yeah, it's too much. I've already chose this one, right? Yeah, already chose this one. Alright, let's just leave it like that. Damn standard. And we can get away with doing this with a big brush. Pulling out. Yeah, I think that's going to work. A bit too much. Let's add it on a layer so we can change it later. Okay, people still there? Please, if you got any questions, please share with them. Share me any questions you'd like me to answer, or any topics of discussion you want to talk about. I mean, I don't mind sculpting in the silence, but it might be a bit boring for others. because we won't ever see the back of this thing down back here. I don't even know why I ever did those details, but we don't need to worry too much about what's going on in the back here. It's mostly about what's going on in the front, really. So we won't spend too much time detailing that further. Just do some of these ones here because we will see them. Well, we might see them, we might not see them. Turn that layer off, and I'm going to put that to minus, or 0.5, because I don't want it to be too harsh. Celestial says, tell us about your work, if it's okay with you. Sure. I mean, what do you mean, my professional work or my sort of on the side work, which is basically this? Let me know what you want to know, because obviously I can't talk too much about my professional work, the work that I do professionally for a studio, because it's you know, non-disclosure agreement, obviously. But I'm happy to talk about anything else. Maybe from the past, if you want me to answer anything from the past, if you have any burning questions. Tomorrow says, did you re-render or redo, tart up, any pictures for the 2022 book, or were they all print ready? I actually had to go back in. I'll just take a pause real quick. I'll show you. So I actually had to go in and redo a few, and by looking at what I see now, there are a few in here from the proof that I need to clean up as well. So I'll just show you one that I did clean up. Probably going to be a bit difficult to see it, but it's a lot easier. It's a lot more easier to see in real life. It was this one here. If you can see it, this one here. If you see, I don't know if you can tell from the background. If you can tell from the background, let me just try and get closer. If you can tell from the background, right? I actually added some a lot more subtle sort of clouds and more of the way that I do things now. I've from the skills that I've learned now, I'm now putting back into my older images just to clean them up a little bit, because the original was very painterly style, so I wanted to add a proper background for it to sit on, so it's got like clouds and some dark patches and stuff like that. There was also the other one. Where is he? Oh, just found him. This one here, the dog, the top here. I don't know if you can see it well enough. Trying to get as close as I can without hitting the mic or the boom arm. I don't know if you can see that, but there we are. You can just about see a mountain range in the background, right? That is all new. The whole background for that is completely new. And what I want to do once I've gone through each one of these, because I mean, Skeletor looks like he needs to be a bit lighter, right? He needs a little bit more of a lighter background. Spawn looks fine to me, but there are a few in here that, I mean, this one is a Balrog, right? You can hardly see the Balrog. What I want to do is just brighten up the background a little bit more, maybe add a different type of background to him, in order to bring him into the light a bit more. Yeah, there's a few. I mean, every single one of the image can do with a bit of a touch-up, and I think that's what I'm going to do now that I have this book here. I can now really see how the print's going to come out. So hopefully it's gonna be better once I've finished it. Celestial says, what are your favorite tasks you did at work so far? Oh, good point. I think my favorite tasks have been texturing. I think texturing a model is it's actually quite fun to do, especially if you didn't have to sculpt the model. When you work in film, you don't really, because you're all put into separate departments within those realms. So I was a texture artist for a while, but then I was also a general artist. But I can say that texturing was more fun than the general, because you don't have to worry too much about the model because it's already done for you. I've also recently uploaded, I'll show you actually, on my ArtStation. 1 second. I recently created a Dreams, which is the company I'm working for now. I recently uploaded 2 games that I've worked on for that company. The first one, which is Reach, is the most recent one, but the other one, which is 2021, was Far Cry VR, Dive into Insanity. And I can honestly say that I did all the character work for that game, as well as some props and a vehicle. Now, I didn't actually build the characters. Ubisoft actually gave us the files from the original Far Cry 3, which is amazing because it means Far Cry 3 was one of those games that I really loved when I was a kid, and I played that thing like until 100%. You know, that was one of the very few games I actually made to 100%. And so I managed to find myself working on assets from ages ago, and I think this is before Substance Painter was a true thing. A lot of the texture work was done using Photoshop, which is a skill in its own, because you had to make the roughness maps, metallic maps, and all the other textures using just Photoshop. I believe Substance Painter or something equivalent to Substance Painter was around, but it wasn't as good as it is today. And so what I had to do was I had to go into the files of Ubisoft and find where all the textures, the models, and the rigs for each character were, because they were everywhere. Now, I don't think file management was a thing back in the day, because I had to go searching through hundreds of folders to find the correct textures that went with the correct model, and the hairs and all that sort of thing. But VAS, actually, this one, I'll just scroll down. So VAS was one of the only ones that we were allowed to update properly. So we took VAS and we updated the ZBrush file for the high poly model, and we actually redid his face a little bit more and to make it look a bit better. These aren't great render shots because these are done in Marmoset Toolbag, but they're generally how we saw them in 2021 when we were working on them. But VAS was amazing because we literally got to update him properly for the VR experience. And then we have a bunch of other ones in here. All these are avatars. The pirates, they were the hardest ones to find for the original textures, and I also had to go in and make multiple color variations for them. So for each pirate there was 4 different versions of him, right, color wise, and I had to go and search through every single folder to find the original pirate, and then update him using and then plugging everything into Substance Painter. So all the texture files, original texture files, into Substance Painter, and then updating the textures as well. So it was a huge task, and I was the only character artist working on it at the time, and it took about a year to do. Now the other ones, these ones, the Reach, I'm very proud about these ones because they were really difficult to do because that's all sculpted inside a ZBrush. There was no what do you call it? It wasn't like taking it, starting inside of Maya with a basic model and then put it inside ZBrush, we decided to, as a team, work on individual enemies. Even though I've got all the enemies here, we worked on individual enemies, and my task was to create this one, which was the main bad guy, like core enemy unit. And so you can see these are the sort of substance painter renders. Oh, there it is. So that was the blockout stage inside of ZBrush that I did. So I tend to sculpt organic hard surface, so in a way that it's sculpted with organic methods to get a blockout. So this is the blockout of the model. This took about 2 days, maybe a day and a half to sculpt, and then we did some tests with some texturing with this model inside of Substance Painter, just to get an idea of how the textures would look on the character, or the different types of gold and stone and different variations. And then it was exploration of the heads, all the different types of heads of visors we had for the character. And then what happens is we took the one on the left, which is the organic sculpted high poly model, and then we rebuilt it inside of ZBrush using ZBrush hard surface techniques inside of ZBrush to look like the one on the left, but with clean, very clean lines. That was the idea, was to have very sharp, clean lines, right? As you can see here, this is the head, just the head of the Z. This is what we started off with. We started off with just the head sculpt inside of ZBrush. This is a low poly, obviously, with a bake on it, but the high poly model of this was very crisp. There was no dents or deforming along the faces, so it was a very unique way of sculpting, but very, very cool. And obviously that's sort of the final look to him. And yeah, so that was the first one. So once we got that one down, then obviously we just used this one to make this one, which was the shield bearer, and all we did was just create a different head. Okay, and we added some different textures. We moved some things around so it didn't look exactly like the core enemy, but we sort of explored with different head styles. We sort of landed on this one, and we're exploring different texture styles. First of all, we were going to have them all the same texture, the same look of character, right? So they all matched in this world. But we found that it could be a bit difficult for players to sort of depict, to see what enemy unit it is, right? So we decided to change the colors of the character. So this was the original idea. And so I went down a rabbit hole of changing colors and having fun with the textures, different types of textures to them, different variations. It's very Aztec type characters. Like, we weren't supposed to use the word Aztec because we're supposed to not have cultural appropriation, but it was very much inspired by old Aztec sort of world, basically. And there's some more here as well. So yeah, that was really fun. And then the last one, which was the last core enemy unit, was the shotgunner, and this was actually sculpted by a great artist that I work with, called Naila Steenput, and she was actually the one who sculpted the model. I just came in and tried to align the colors and the textures to the other models, using the techniques inside Substance Painter. Now this one's supposed to be a heavy unit with a shotgun, so he's supposed to be the hardest one to fight out of the enemy units. And I went through a rabbit hole of different color variations. I really loved doing this one because it's such a good sculpt. I could actually go to town with it when it came to texturing and break. Even though it was a basic model, the texturing side of things actually brought out other shapes that you couldn't see, right? Even though it was a basic shapes sculpted very, very well. But yeah, I like this one a lot. I love the way this one came out. It's very menacing in the images, especially this image from the head, sort of the head, size of the head and stuff. So it's really cool. Tomorrow says, cool, must be nice to have a nice physical presentation like that. Looks great. Thank you very much. Celestial says, how much time did you spend on all those characters? Were you talking about the Reach or Far Cry? Because Far Cry, that was a year, straight solid year working on that project, and then same thing for Reach. There was about a year as well. But the Reach, I had a couple. We have a few artists working on Reach, so that was a big project. Joseph says, have you done your movie projects beside of your day by day work, or you focus just on the movie as freelance? So for the movie stuff, let's move out of the way. The movie stuff, when I was doing the movie stuff, I was literally just doing the movie stuff, and then on the side I was doing my time-lapse videos for YouTube. That was, again, because of the lockdown sort of situation we all had. So that's why I created that YouTube channel, in order to not die of boredom, I guess. But I never did any freelance for film. There was a kind of freelance, the demon creature. Where is he? Munja. This one. This one was kind of a freelance character, but it wasn't, because I was still working with DNEG, or within DNEG, but I was actually set aside to do a film for India. So this is an Indian film, Indian DNEG film, and it was sort of a side project, right? So you could kind of say that I was freelanced over to the Indian production team in order to design this this creature character for them, for their film. This was quite fun, actually, because, well, fun and very, very, very difficult to do in a very short span of time. And film is completely different to game. Games, normally they don't do a lot of overtime, overtime. So they try not to overwork their employees. Sorry. But for film, it's a different. It's a totally different. Like film, you'll be working late nights, weekends. You know, they really do push it in film and try to get as much out of you as possible if it's needed. It's not always needed, but when it comes down to crunch time, they are quite ruthless. But it's just the way it is, really. Once you get into it, and once you've been in it for a while, you kind of get used to it. So it's just one of those things, really. Just I think the pay as well for film is much more than it is for game, which is kind of offsets the amount of time that you work in film, really. I'd rather have a lot of pay and I'd have to work a lot than the other way around, I guess. Celestial says, I thought you enjoy sculpting the most. It's surprising you're into texturing. Will you add more texturing content to your channel? Yeah, actually, the next thing after the idea I had for the next thing after the anatomy tutorial was to show you how to show for beginners how to texture using Substance Painter, not with a proper retopoed model, but with something that's straight out of ZBrush. We'll just use one of my old models, and we'll take that from ZBrush with some UV maps into Substance Painter, and then just do some substance stuff, really, for a while, just to break up the monotony of sculpting, really, because I think a lot of people also would like to, see me do more do something else. Sorry, not more, but do something completely different to just sculpting all the time. I do enjoy sculpting. It's just I think I've done it so much now that I kind of want to do other things, you know, for a little bit. But yeah, you can't really do the other things though if you don't have a model to do it with. So that's why I still sculpt a lot. Joseph says, still didn't see this movie from Hungary. It's not available on any platform. From Hungary, it's not available. Yeah, I haven't seen it either. I have had a lot of messages from people in India though that have seen it, and they said that the creature was great, and they, you know, thanked me for all the help that I gave them. But yeah, it's not a massive film in this country, or well, in anywhere but India, I guess. I mean, it could be big in other countries, but I think it's more localized to India, unless Netflix picks it up at some point. They might lease it out to Netflix. You never know. I love using the snake hook brush with the spikes. It just adds a little bit more sharpness to it, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, let's add some spikes to there. Yeah, eventually I'd like to do some more texture work with the models that I have, and then take it, because I just bought Marmoset tool bag, so I have now got a rendering engine on my new computer, or some form of rendering engine on my computer. Even though I have got I was gonna say Arnold Schwarzenegger, even though I have got Arnold Renderer as well through Maya. I find Marmoset Toolbag is just nice to preview your model in, you know? And yeah, so I'm going to use that to show you guys how to texture using Substance Painter rather than Maya. Because in Maya, you kind of have to set things up a bit more, like the Arnold shader and stuff like that. As something that's more of a tutorial, I think, than anything else. So I'm gonna leave that be. But yeah, I think we can definitely look at how to texture inside Substance. I just need to buy the license from Steam, because I was paying for it through what do you call it? Adobe Cloud, that's the one. For so long, but I never used it because I never got the opportunity to use it very much, so I cancelled that subscription. But some people say that you can get the full license of it through Steam, so I'm going to look into that, perpetual license. So I'm going to look into that and see what that's got going, and hopefully be able to use that. The only bad thing about that, well, I say bad, but the only downside to that is that you don't get to use Adobe's asset library, which is an amazing thing, by the way. Especially if you're looking for, when you're texturing, when you're looking for a base material to then work with to begin with, because they got a huge library of stuff, which is amazing. Celestia says, that's cool, you've got Marmoset now. You can do texturing in it too, but I haven't tried it yet. Yeah, I haven't dived too far into it. I just sort of played around a little bit with it. I guess it'll be nice to figure out how those things all work alongside each other. Right, let's just add a new layer. I want to add some wrinkles to the under area of this mouth here. Not too many, because it's a young dragon, and he shouldn't have too many folds or wrinkle folds under here. Going to try and disturb too much of the wrinkles over there. Backface masking turned on, that's why. Just turn that off. Okay. Could be good. It's messed up the scales underneath there a bit, but that's not too much of an issue. Not too much of a problem. Yeah, that's not too bad. The cutoff point will probably be quite high up because the neck is quite long on the book cover. So we'll try to pass it off. I just like to do quite a long neck. I'd like to do a lot of the detail further down the neck, just in case we need it. Because we can see it accidentally, but we should be able to get away with what we have here. Really? Oh, it looks like you've got spikes going down the side, down the back as well. So let's just add those sort of spikes in the back there, between these plates, I guess, and then we'll call that a night, because I have to get up in the morning. Yeah. Okay. I like this. I love doing dragon skull, dragon sort of busts, to be fair. Celestial says, by the way, dragon from the original cover doesn't resemble female at all, in my opinion. No, it looks very masculine, doesn't it? Yeah, it's very, very masculine. I think it's because of the brow, or the way the mouth is. It doesn't look female at all. Saying that, there are the other versions that look, I mean, they look alien to me. You know, they don't even look like dragons. Which is why I wanted to redo them, because even though I love the artwork and the amount of time it probably took to do this piece of art, I just feel like it doesn't look like a dragon. Yeah, wanted to just completely redo them, and hopefully the author sees this in my socials or anything like that. I'll tag him and see if he wants to sign me up for a book cover. book cover update. But yeah, no, I can agree. It doesn't look female at all. I mean, thinking about that, like, I can kind of get the idea, like, how to make it more feminine. Is like, if you look at let's say, look at a German Shepherd dog. I know it's going completely off tandem, right? But if you look at a German Shepherd dog, then you look at the two sexes for the male and the female. The male head and the female head are very different, I believe. The female head's a lot softer features, even in German Shepherd dog, but the male head is much larger and much more sort of stronger build, you know. And so you kind of have to think along the lines of that, I guess, if you're going to do a female version of a dragon, because no one knows what a female version of a dragon looks like, so you got to kind of take it out of nature and what's in nature. So if you look at a lion, the male line is bigger than the female line. You look at the wolf, I think a wolf is different as well. German Shepherd, as I mentioned before, anything that has stark differences but very small differences between the two genders, the two sexes, you know, that's the sort of thing I guess you should try to look for when you're doing the dragon, like a very small, subtle difference between the two sexes. So yeah. I don't know did that make sense? I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments if you think that made sense, but that's just how I sort of see it, basically. When it comes to stuff like this, if you're trying to make it feminine, it has to have a softer features and maybe smaller than what a male features would be. Gonna append Sunder. Yeah, I heard. I words. Use words. Yeah, I don't want. I don't like. You know, I don't say any of what I just mentioned about genders or whatever to offend or anything like that. But that's kind of how things are in nature when it comes to the forms. Like I remember doing a piece. Wait a second, let me just show you. I think it's in the book actually. I'll just share this. So, talking about predators, I made this version of the predator years ago. One second, let me just try and get it in shot. So, I made this version of the predator. It's all blurred. It's all shot out now. The light. Let me move them back up. So you can see that. Yep, see that? Right. So that was my idea or version of a female predator, right? And I got a lot of backlash for that because of obviously the mandibles. There's only 2 mandibles. Let me just try and find it in the art station. Actually, it's probably easier to share it. Give me a second. Let me just move this to the side. So, where is she? Oh, gone too far. Oh, there she is. So you can see here, this is what she looks like from my point of view. I tried to change it to be a bit softer. So the headdress or the headpiece is a little smaller. Like I said, the mandibles, instead of having 4, I gave her 2, just to change it. So for the sexes, like the 2 different types for the sexes, you can see there. And just try to soften her as much as possible, right? Obviously I got a lot of backlash for it because people are fixated with the idea of having the original four pincers. The problem with that is that you're not thinking outside the box a lot with that, and I know you're supposed to try to please your audience, but I thought to myself, if she's a female predator, she has to have something that's different about her than the male, right? And so I did that, and then also I got a lot of backlash from one certain person because I added. Now, bearing in mind this was in 2020, I got a lot of backlash for this ringlets around her neck, right? So it's supposed to be like some sort of tribal ring thing going on the back of it, around her neck, but it's also actually on the predator itself, I think. Let me just try and find the original predator. Yeah, not sure if this is going to come out, but you can see he's got this sort of neck piece, right, around his neck, and it sort of looks like rings, doesn't it? Looks like a few rings. And I thought to myself, well, if it was in that film, then I'm just going to add it to my one because it's just a nice little sort of, callback basically to the original. And I put that online, and I got told off for cultural appropriation online. Someone commented about, oh, you shouldn't use that because that's cultural appropriation. I just thought to myself, it's in the original design. How is it cultural appropriation? Anyway, I blocked the person and I deleted the post because I thought it was just stupid. How, as an artist, are you supposed to create anything if you're forced to obey these rules of cultural appropriation? You know, it just seems silly to me. You're basically stifling creativity when you do that. Obviously, I didn't say that. I just let it be, and I just deleted the post. She the comment she put in there because I just thought it was silly, and I blocked her. And I'm not going to go down the road of arguing the toss, but yeah, I just thought to myself, that's just silly. You can't, if you do that, then you can't create anything anymore. In that case, you know, you're not allowed to do anything. You're not allowed to make anything. And you know what that sounds like? That sounds a lot like back in the day, back in the medieval times, when the church told artists that you can't draw or write scripts or books and stuff. You know, it stifles everything. And obviously the church failed because after that we had the Renaissance. You know, the Renaissance period when art flourished, and the church sort of backed down. But I don't know, this whole censoring thing it just gets on my nerves. Anyway, bit of a rant. Tomorrow says, in design language, typically hard angles, squares equal male, and soft shapes and circles equal female. Yeah, pretty much. That predator is hot. You need counseling. Joseph says, speaking of Predator, have you watched Badlands last weekend? Yes, I did. I think I mentioned it before, but I loved it. I think it was amazing. It's a nice, different story to the Predator universe. So I don't see it as part of Arnold Schwarzenegger's universe. I see it as part of its own thing, and it's telling a story in that side of the universe, and I'm happy for that to be it. It's not having any callback to the original. It's just its own story, and there's a nice actual story arc of the main character, like the main hero of the film, right? He actually goes on the hero's journey, which is what I think it was Lucasfilm, wasn't it? George Lucas, who created used the idea of the hero's journey, which is a full circle. So, you know, you get your main character and he's pretty shit at the beginning, and then he goes on this journey, and as he goes on this journey, he learns about things. He learns about how things, he learns about himself. He learns to train himself, or he gets trained by someone who's a mentor, and then he goes full circle and beats the bad guy in the end, and that's the hero's journey. So he has his downfall with the main bad guy. He gets back up, he trains, he meets the mate, he confronts the main bad guy, he wins, hero's journey. Same thing with Predator Badlands. I think they captured that pretty well. You know, beginning with the father and the brother, he gets he goes off to claim his vengeance or whatever, and then he does his whole cycle, like his whole hero's journey on the world, and then he comes back to meet his father, and so on and so forth. So that was great. It was great. Celestial says females have indeed softer forms and more delicate, smaller jaws, etc. Sorry about typos. Don't worry about the typos. It's fine. I'm not very good at typing either. Joseph says, Joseph Campbell wrote The Hero's Journey with Thousand Faces. Yes, thank you. Which George Lucas read and used in Star Wars. And I think ever since there, I mean, if you could take quite a few films, can't you? Not just Star Wars. You got Iron Man. He had a hero arc. He had a hero arc. Thor, Captain America, all those first Marvel films had very good arcs, right? Story, character arcs, and heroes' journeys. It's just recently a lot of the Marvel stuff's kind of, the hero's journey is a bit sloppy. It doesn't really work. I think they've lost their way with the writing a little bit. But yeah, like you said, Joseph Campbell. Joseph says, I liked it also, watched 2 days ago. Yeah, I watched it twice now, and I just love it. When the director said that it was a world full of danger, he was definitely right about that. Like, the whole world was just one big death, just death everywhere, and I loved it. It never had that. You never really had that feeling of safeness in that world, and I think they played on that very well with the environment as well. But yeah, very well loved film. It's not going to be like, it's probably going to be in Predator terms for the film franchise. I think it's up there with 1 and 2, just because the sort of sequels after 2 were so bad. Well, that's so bad, but they weren't as good. So I would actually go Predator 1, obviously. 2, because it went to the concrete jungle, which is always fun. Oh, crap. Oops, delete that one. That one. The concrete jungle, which is always fun. And then Predator Badlands, I think, for me. I didn't quite like Prey. I think Prey was just a bit too tongue-in-cheek when it came to the Predator, and also the Predator, that Predator, because that wasn't the original one. That was a completely different type of Predator. It just didn't work for me as a film, really. But I have to say, I am getting a little bit annoyed with Hollywood and making all the bad guys good guys. Predator still should be a bad guy or a hunter, which you should not be rooting for. You should be very deathly scared of it, not agreeing with it, But I guess that's just the way films are going these days. You can't have bad guys in films these days. It seems like a big taboo to have a bad guy in a film. I don't know. Maybe it's just Disney. Yeah. not going to put too many spikes because, again, the you're not going to see it very well in the design later with the render. Probably won't even see it at all, to be fair. Joseph says, thank you. Finally, all my friends always preached about Prey, and I don't know why. It wasn't bad, just, yeah, it didn't work for me. Yeah, it's just, it wasn't great. Yeah, no. Celestial says, I wonder if we'll see someone like Pennywise as a good guy someday. Well, I've seen that one. I've seen the Welcome to Derry. I liked it. You know what I loved about Welcome to Derry was the intro, the title sequence. They made a cute little girl singing with the visuals into horror. I mean, that is a skill in and of itself. Whenever I hear that song now from the Welcome to Derry intro, I just immediately think Stephen King's It, right? Or It. It's amazing what they can do, like, to change how you think about sort of songs and whatnot. Kind of like Fallout. Fallout has amazing music, right? It's kind of that 80s, 40s, 50s, the 1940s, World War II era type music, but it's happy music, right? But it also, there's this dark undertone of it existing within the time period of the nuclear apocalypse. And it just, every time I hear the music from Fallout, all I can think of is nuclear apocalypse. And that's the same thing with the Welcome to Derry, right? When you hear Welcome to Derry song, you just think, oh god, yeah, this is a horror film, isn't it? Because you have that underwhelming feeling of, yeah, there's a horror aspect to this. I just loved it. Wasn't 100% happy with the ending of it, of Welcome to Derry. I think it dragged on a little bit, but it was a solid sort of prequel to the original films. Joseph Bonkowski said, I thought I am the only one who thinks Prey is overrated. Nope, no, not at all. Yeah, Prey, just, it didn't hit home with me, because how are you going to take a massive 6 foot tall or 8 foot tall predator, put him in the time period of the cowboys and Apaches or whatever, and a Native American is going to be able to kill it, you know, using the flower. I mean, it didn't make sense to me. And anyway, why couldn't they use mud? Why did they have to use a flower? You know, what was wrong with mud? They could have used mud. Yeah, it was just too on the nose with the story as well. It just didn't work. It didn't work at all, really. I'm glad that they didn't go down that route with Predator Badlands, to be fair. They focused more on character development with that film. And then a good thing about the Predator Badlands is that they didn't have humans, right? So they had spoiler, by the way. They had what was they called? Synths, or sort of robots, I guess you could call them. And we all know from the Alien franchise that these synths or robots, call them synths, all these robots are pretty strong, so they could actually match the strength of a predator, right? Because they're kind of like superhuman strength. They don't have the strength of a human. So it was quite nice to see him fight those sort of creatures or characters. It did kind of take away from the danger of being killed by a predator, because they were just robots, so it didn't really matter whether or not they died. because they're just shells, right? And there's no human to them apart from the main female one. But yeah, overall, I liked it. Over. Okay, I think that's going to be good enough because we won't see it otherwise. All these ones on the side here. Though, if you see that, that's actually a bit of a trick that I used when I did the book covers for Shadows of the Gods. It's forced perspective, or it's adding detail where there probably shouldn't be that sort of detail. So I mean, it's easier to get away with it with an illustration like this, right? The person who created this book cover has put the spikes going down the side of his of the dragon here. When in actual fact, if you followed the spikes from the center here, they would actually hide behind the dragon. They wouldn't be poking out the sides. But because of it's an illustration and you kind of want to detail it and force perspective and stuff like that, that you can get away with doing extra details like that. But if you try to do that with ZBrush, then you have to kind of break the model when it comes time to the rendering part, which is what I did for the Shadow of the Gods. I actually broke the model and got it so that it was a perfect render, but it would just not work as a model anymore. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to worry too much about the spikes going all the way down the back like the one in the book cover, because that would mean having to fake it going down the back, right? So pulling them out the side here. So I'm just not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it as is. I'm going to merge these down, subdivide, and standard. Right. And again, I'm just going to add this detail to it. I'm just going to plaster it onto this model, onto these models here. And just use a trim dynamic, and I'm just going to trim that until I get like I do with the horns, basically. I get a sharp edge, the spike. Okay. ZBrush. Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, a little bit of little bit of added detail there, just to break up the silhouette of the top there, so that it's not so repetitive. And I think we're nearly there, guys. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to pause it there for tonight, because it's way past my bedtime, and next week. I think instead of doing a portfolio review, because I know we're supposed to do a portfolio review at the end of each month, but I think what I want to do instead is I want to get this done first. So we're going to leave it there, and when we return next week, I think we're just going to get on and paint it and render it and Photoshop it. It's going to be a long one, a very long live stream, because I want to get this one done so we can move on to something else. But yeah, so that has been this Thursday episode. What was the episode? 48 or something? Episode 48 of this. Of this live stream. And yeah, we're just gonna leave it there for tonight. Right. Again, as I said, I'm gonna look through my almanac, or volume 1. I'm gonna fix this, and once I fix this, I will let you know when I'm going to get it printed again, and I'll let you know how I'm going to sell this. Hopefully I'll be able to find a way. Look at that, that's pretty cool, isn't it? I love that one. Sorry, that one, that demon. But yeah, I'm hoping I'm gonna get this done as soon as possible, because I want to move on to the other ones, because I've still got 2023 4 and 5 to do, so there's 4 books in total. And I think there'll be a nice little something to look at for inspiration, or if you just enjoy my artwork, you know. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed tonight. Hopefully you'll have a great weekend and not work too hard. Actually, no, work hard. Yeah, pull your finger out, get some work done. So yeah, have a good weekend, and I'll see you all on Monday, where we're going to continue to clean up the anatomy model. So from what we did last Monday, we're going to clean up the anatomy model. If you're not a member yet, you can become a member of the YouTube channel, and you can grab all the anatomy tutorials, as well as the dragon tutorials as well, on how to sculpt the dragon from Dragonheart, for my members. Apart from that, I just want to say thank you to all my members on Patreon and on YouTube. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye. I don't know how to finish these things. I should actually come up with a catchphrase to say goodbye, because I just ramble. Anyway, have a good night. I'll see you all on Monday. Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in more exclusive content and want to support my work further, then please check out my Patreon page at MLW_creative for more. Also, view past live streams you might have missed in Tier 3 tutorial support, where I will be archiving future streams moving forward. If you are interested in other full-length tutorials, brushes and models, then check out my online stores for more useful content. I would also like to thank all my subscribers and patrons for supporting me for this long. Again, thanks for watching, and stay safe.